Another day in the life of watching movies, and today I'm going to be re-watching the third film of the Home Alone franchise. I remember when I first saw it I didn't really like it, but now I'm going to re-watch it and see if my opinion's changed. Shall we find out? Luke, don't watch it! Future me, what are you doing here? I mean, it's warning about Home Alone 3. Please don't watch it, it's terrible. Well, in that case, I'm going to give you my laptop then, so I'll be able to watch it. So yeah, there you go. Thank you very much, Luke. You're doing the right thing. What he doesn't realise is that the laptop is not my only way of watching films, because I have my television, and now I rented a film at Amazon Prime and I'm going to watch it on my television. So 3, 2, 1, let's do this. Well, that was a big mistake, wasn't it? Giving my future self a laptop while I secretly watch it on TV. Hey everyone, Lukemas Prime here. So, it is now time for me to do the review for what is the third installment of one of my favourite Christmas franchises of all time. Probably my all-time favourite in general, because that's my favourite Christmas from Home Alone 2. But sadly, this review is going to be a trash talk for what is the third installment, of course, as you probably guessed by title and thumbnail, is none other than 1997's Home Alone 3. Oh my goodness. Just what happened with this movie? What happened? So, now, how was this film made? So, after, of course, the release of Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, of course, Macaulay Culkin did not want to return as Kevin for a role because he'd taken a hiatus from acting in 1994. So, the original idea from John Hughes, may rest in peace, featuring a teenage version of Kevin McAllister, was scrapped, and he centred on a new cast of characters and a new story. And the new protagonist, of course, would be the character Alex Pruitt. It's played by Alex D. Linz, and it will feature this time not 2 bad guys, but this time 4. And the film was filmed in Chicago and Evanston, Illinois, with airport scenes in the beginning of the film being shot at 2 different concourses in O'Hare International Airport. It began on December 2nd, 1996, and filming finished on March 22nd, 1997. And the film was then, of course, released on December 12th, 1997, and it was met with mixed reviews, with critics praising Alex Dillon's performance as Alex Pruitt, but criticising the film's departure from the previous installments, including its themes and cast. When it comes to my reaction to this film, so if you guys recall the video I did covering why, in my opinion, Home Alone 2 did not need sequels, I talked about my first time reaction to Home Alone 3, where basically I was over at a friend's house playing a Simpsons game on Xbox 360 when his mum told us that a third Home Alone film was on television. And back then, I was unfortunately way too excited to see more of Home Alone. I don't know why, because as I talked about in last week's review, I think Home Alone 2, my favourite Christmas movie of all time, is the true end of the franchise. So, me and my friend, we watched the movie, and after watching it, my reaction was this. What the hell was that? Because this film, in my opinion, compared to the absolutely wonderful Home Alone films before, the 2 of them, is absolutely terrible. Oh my god. And from rewatch after rewatch, I now unfortunately hate this movie more and more I watch it. I think it's just absolutely terrible. So, despite me thinking this, however, there is maybe a few redeeming qualities I could say about this. So, when it comes to Alex, the main character in this, he is somewhat of a likeable and relatable protagonist in my opinion, but definitely nowhere near as close to being as great of a protagonist as Kevin McAllister, in my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, Kevin is the only Home Alone protagonist there is. And also, as well, other good things I could also say is, the traps, in my opinion, are somewhat decent, really, although I do feel they go a bit way too cartoonic and more ridiculous compared to the ones from the first 2 films, because while the first 2 films, of course, had traps that could have probably killed Harry and Marv, they were still, in my opinion, believable and still a lot of fun. Whereas ones in this, I feel, went a bit over the top, really, but they were still decent, though, nonetheless. And I also though did like how at the start of in the intro, we did hear a portion of John Williams' theme for a franchise, so I'm glad they included that, but sadly that's all you get of the original soundtrack, really, because that's it after that. And I guess as all the visuals are also decent for 1997 standards, and that's what I'll say, really. And when it comes to the 4 bad guys in this, my personal favourite out of them was Burton Jernigan. I thought he was probably the coolest character out of 4 of them, and we sadly lost Lenny Von Dohlen, who played him last year, so rest in peace, Lenny. I definitely think Burton was probably the best part of the 4 gangsters in this. But now on to the bad qualities of the movie. So, my biggest bad quality with this film is that this film, to me, is anything but a Home Alone film. At all, because this film, despite being regarded as a sequel to Home Alone 2, literally feels nothing like a sequel whatsoever, because it has no connection whatsoever to the first 2 movies whatsoever. So, for example, Kevin McAllister and the McAllister family do not appear, nor are they mentioned. Neither Harry and Marv, either they're not in the film and they no longer exist. The only thing, of course, which is familiar is probably the Chicago setting, especially because at the start of the film we do see O'Hare Airport, I guess. So that's a bit of familiarity. But other than that, literally no connection whatsoever. So you could literally watch this film with a completely different title to Home Alone 3 and it would change nothing at all. Because it does not feel like Home Alone whatsoever, in my opinion. And speaking of that, as well, the main character of the movie, Alex, is barely even Home Alone to begin with in this film, because for most of the film, he shares tons and tons of scenes with his family, and he's not on his own. So, I personally think that was a stupid move how they made him be with his family for most of the movie. It's only when he's taken on the bad guys when he's actually on his own in the house. So, I feel it was really stupid how, in many scenes of the film, he's with his family. So, I don't understand why we did that. Like, it's called Home Alone for a reason. Like, do we not know how being Home Alone works? It's ridiculous. I personally think Roger Gosnell was better working as editor for the first 2 films, not as a director, to be honest, for films. Because I feel this film just failed miserably to be as good as the first 2 films. I mean, it does have its fans, don't get me wrong, but I still personally feel that this film is terrible for many reasons. And also, as well, when it comes to the 4 gangsters, in my opinion, they were nowhere near as great as Harry and Marv, in my opinion, nowhere near as funny or as intimidating either, I might add. And also as well, what's also stupid as well is also how this film does not have the character who's revealed to be a good guy cliche like the first 2 films had, because the only thing we get close to that is Mrs. Hess, the old lady, who, of course, Alex who works for as pushing away snow using his snowplow brush. But that's it, really. That's the closest we get, but then again, he already knows who she is, so that doesn't really count, does it? So I feel it was really stupid how they kept out that cliche. And also as well, I personally did not like Alex's mother, Karen. I really didn't like her in this. I thought she was very annoying. Probably, in my opinion, worse than Kate McAllister, in my opinion. That's what I'll say. Because she didn't believe whatsoever. And I feel that was just stupid, really. Like, I'm sure Kate McAllister would have believed Kevin if he told about Harry and Marv. I'm sure she would have believed him. Whereas, of course, this character does not, which is just ridiculous. Not until the end of the movie. And I also, as well, did not like Alex's siblings, Stan and Molly, who were played by Seth Smith and Scarlett Johansson. And I personally thought they were both really unlikable, and I might also add discount versions of Kevin's siblings, especially, of course, of Buzz, in Stan's case. Because those 2 characters just really got on my nerves in the movie. Even worse, in my opinion, than Buzz, I might add. Like, goodness me. And I also was not a fan of Stan's parrot either, who was voiced by Darren T. Norse. Like, I thought the parrot was really annoying and also unlikable towards Kevin, I might say as well. Like, when I was listening to a parrot being mean to Alex, I was like, oh, shut up. Because the parrot just really got on my nerves. And also as well, when it comes as well to the film's attempts at humour, there's not really much in this film that made me laugh whatsoever, to be honest. I mean, because like I said, some of the traps I thought were decent at best, but definitely nowhere near as funny as the traps in the first 2 films, in my opinion. Like, goodness me, I don't know what happened with this film at all. Like, it's just so appalling in comparison. Like I said, it's anything but a Home Alone film, because the main character's barely Home Alone in the whole film. For most of the film, he's with his family. And his family just so unlikable too, as well. And the only character who pretty much spends most of the film away from Alex is probably his father, because he's hardly in the film, really. He only appears in several scenes, really, and that's it, really. So that was probably the only sense we could have had towards Alex being left on his own, because his father was, of course, taking flights on business trips, really. So I just feel this film was just so stupid and just an absolute joke to rewatch. And when it comes as well to the music, it's composed by Nick Lenny Smith, and while I think it's a decent score at best, it does not come close at all, in my opinion, to the absolutely wonderful, magical score by John Williams in the first two films. And I also feel all the music just feels so weird and out of place in this film, because it could have been used in a much better film than this. Because the music just feels more like it could belong in like a heist movie than a family comedy movie, which is just stupid, really, how it just doesn't feel right here. And I also didn't like how they replaced the iconic Sesame Trap score with a song from the band Oingo Boingo called Alone Again. I mean, I haven't got anything against that song. It's a great song I listen to quite a lot, but it just felt out of place, really. They should have just used the iconic Sesame Trap score by John Williams, but unfortunately they didn't do it, which is a shame, really. So I feel it didn't really work. And also, some This Is My Town also, in my opinion, felt out of place in a Home Alone movie as well. And I just feel the film just failed miserably, really, to be honest. And I just don't understand what happened at all. And I think there's also lots of plot holes to as well. For example, these four characters, right, are criminals, and they're wanted, of course, by the FBI. Yet, at the start of the film, they haven't got a problem with saying their surnames out when in the airport to get each other's attention. So they could have got compromised right there, and somehow they didn't. But they should have known better not to do that. They should have had like a false ID or something because of criminals, but no. Yeah, I just think that's just really stupid what they did, really. Like, I don't understand what they were thinking with this film. I really don't know. And I just think it was really stupid what happened. Really stupid. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, for what it was worth, the cast members did try their best in this, but it didn't really save much of the film, to be honest, in my opinion, because of how stupid it was, in my opinion. Like I said, it's anything but a Home Alone movie. It doesn't feel like it whatsoever, in my opinion. Like, I would personally nickname this movie something like maybe Kid versus Gangsters. That's what I'd probably call it. I think that fits much better, to be honest. That's what I'll say, really. Other than that, though, the film, in my opinion, sucks. It really does. Even as a film which you're pretending is not called Home Alone, it's still rubbish, in my opinion, because of the unlikable characters as well, I must say. Because I just think it's ridiculous what we did with this movie. Just so stupid, in my opinion. And if I wasn't watching it for your benefit, to rewatch, to refresh my memory for this trash talk, I'd have probably switched it off early into because how stupid it was. Like, it just doesn't feel like Home Alone whatsoever. The magic from the first two films is just gone. It's no longer there anymore. And this film just, in my opinion, failed miserably to be as good as them, and it's just so appalling. Like, I don't know what they're thinking with this movie. So, all I can say is they should not have done this movie. They should have just ended at Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2, as far as I'm concerned, is the true end of the Home Alone franchise. I like to say that this film and what came after it certainly did not come after Home Alone 2. But unfortunately, it wasn't the case, was it? Which really sucks. So, this film to me is a joke, and not to mention, it's also not even a Christmas movie, because it takes place in January, which is just a stupid move. Like, come on, how can you do a Home Alone film without a Christmas feel to it? That's just so stupid. It really is. So, that being said, this is me doing my trash talk of Home Alone 3. So, if I was to give it a score out of 10, compared to the two films before, which I give 10 out of 10 to, this film to me absolutely sucks, and because of what few redeeming qualities said, such as Alex being a decent character, and also, as well, Jernigan, my favourite member out of the four gangsters, I'd probably give this film a very bad score of 4 out of 10. And for what it's worth, it's definitely much more watchable compared to what came next, which I'm unfortunately going to be trash talking next week. Oh, God! Not looking forward to that, but wish me luck. So, anyway, guys, this is me doing my trash talk of Home Alone 3. So, you know the drill. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to tell us in the comments what you guys think of Home Alone 3 if you see it, and in the comments below what you think. Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe who's coming in the future. And Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, and have a Happy New Year.